In the beginning was the one presence of the undivided and unmanifest pure spirit of life, light, and love. In its generosity, it shared itself, its consciousness, and its love in the visible form of creation. We acknowledge this presence within us and as us. The creative energy of the divine feminine and masculine, expressing in all our giftedness and creativity. We acknowledge this in our companion Mother Earth and in all sentient beings. This universal presence in everything we call the Christ. We light this candle today as a visible reminder of the Christ presence expressing in, as, and through us in this present moment now. It is the truth. Let us own it. Thank you, and good morning. And I'd invite you to stand up. We're going to be singing My Soul is Welcome Here. You'll find the words in your bulletin.
And please sing along if you know the song, and if you don't, make it up. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 One more time. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, and we welcome back Leo Brodie as our accompanist and musician today, so thank you so much for being here. My name is Liz Layton, and I'm your platform assistant, and it is wonderful to see you all today. I want to welcome you and our first-time visitors. If you just raise your hand so people can recognize that you're here today, and spend a moment following the service to say hello. Thank you so much for being here. And we also want to welcome those of you at home who are joining us via YouTube. We're really happy that you're tuning in and joining us today. I just have a couple of announcements. I'm going to call Rosemary Longmire up to talk to you briefly. And she has props.
Okay, everybody, we're ready. Your board of directors is putting on our first Divine Dine for the year. It'll be May 20th at 6 o'clock. The tickets are $25 a person. We have room for 35 people, and we'll also have all the board here, so you'll be able to get to know them a little more and join in with you in this fun event. The theme is the Roaring 20s. So, and please, if you're not a person that likes to dress up, please don't let that deter you from coming. Just, do whatever. It's just fine, but we want to have you. But this is an idea of what this room is going to be transformed into, and this is just a little glimpse, so you'll know how much fun it's going to be. There'll be lasagna, spaghetti, salads, bread, and of course dessert. And there'll be vegetarian and gluten-free options for you, so so we'll be sure that everybody is taken care of. And we need to have everybody signed up by the 18th, so we know how much food to prepare. There's a sheet out in the entryway for you to do that, and you can just pay at the door when you come for the evening. So please come join us.
Is it 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
Okay,
6 o'clock on the 20th, and that's Friday.
That's
Friday.
this coming Friday, so we're looking forward to it. I've also been asked to remind you that May 28th is our annual cleanup day. So we have sign-ups out in the foyer for interior and exterior helpers. So please sign up. We can't do it without you, and the more of us who come, the quicker we'll be done. So there you go. Before we start our greeting time, I'd first like you all to stand up now, and I'd like you to turn to that camera and greet our YouTubers. Good morning. Thank you. And now if you'll just turn to your immediate neighbors and greet them this morning. Thank you. You know this. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you'll please return to your seats. It shouldn't take long since you're supposed to be close by. Apparently. Thank you so much. I do want to remind you, if you can't tell, we are a joyful, evolving spiritual community committed to our spiritual practices, compassionate service, and living on purpose. This is our mission. So I would like to settle in right now and take a few deep breaths. We're going to start by saying our 5 principles of unity, and if you don't know them, they are on the inside of your program jacket. So please join with me in saying our 5 principles. God is good and present in all things. The holiness of God is my own true nature. I am creating my experiences by how I think. My thinking is guided by my daily affirmative prayers and affirmative actions. I follow and am sustained by these values in every way, every day, and so it is.
So let's take a moment and just hold those things that we are in our hearts that we want to keep in prayer. And we just said our 5 principles. And this sense of that the divine presence is everywhere, omnipresent in all places and at all times and in all things. Where can we go and be absent from God's love, from that very love of the universe that is flowing in us and through us, and assuring us of our well-being, and assuring us of our goodness that is unfolding forth into our very lives. And even despite the appearance of seeming lack, of seeming weakness, of seeming pain, of seeming energies that may seem to be working against us, we know that the divine in us and through us is working with us for our good, and it is assured. And so we take a deep breath, and we allow our minds to go out and to see the things that we are holding in our hearts, both the things that are bringing us sorrow, things that we see the need for healing, and the aspects that we need and want to bring wholeness to, as well as the joys and the gratitudes. And we lift these things up on the very altar of our hearts, in the temple of our being. And to open it up to all of us, for anyone or anything you'd like to pray for, and this is powerful, please say that person's name or that issue out loud into the world, into the room. And for all these people, for all these things, for all these desires, for all these prayers, we know that the very essence of divine love is blessing them, is loving them, is working through them for their good, even in ways we don't understand. Our very hearts open. We sometimes even groan and we say, divine love, be here. We don't understand how, we don't understand why, we don't necessarily see how this will all unfold for the good, but we trust that it is. We trust that it can. We trust that it will. And so once again, we lay all these prayers on the altar of our heart, the temple of our being, where the divine essence, the Christed energy is now with us, flowing through us, flowing with us, and we offer them up, and we know our prayers are answered, that the divine love is flowing through them and blessing them now. And for this we say amen. And we take these prayers now into a time of a meditation song.
We're going to sing Blessing to the World. I think you've been singing this before, but I'd love to hear your voices. Just sing from your heart. It's not about sounding a certain way. It's just speaking the words into the room in the feeling of the blessing. Because we are blessing each other when we say, you are the heart, you are the hands. And then we'll move into we are the heart, and then I am the heart. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth. And who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart again. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth. And who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart. We are the heart. We are the hands. We are the voice of spirit on earth. And all we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. And now I am the heart. I am the heart, I am the hands, the voice of spirit on earth, and all I am and all I do is a blessing to the world, is a blessing to the world, is a blessing to the world.
And we have come to our time now of meditation. So I invite you to join us, and those viewing us from other locations, you are as well welcome to join us in meditation. And so as we enter this time and place, we are given the opportunity to close our eyes and take a deep breath. Another deep breath, even deeper. And as we move into this spaciousness, here's the opportunity to do a brief body scan, noticing if there's any tension in our bodies. Maybe the neck or the shoulders, maybe the corners of our eyes. Wherever this might be, it's an invitation to release tension, release worry, and just be. And I'm going to share with you a brief segment from the writings of Emily Cady. Beloved, that which you so earnestly desire will never be found by your seeking it through the mental side alone, any more than it has heretofore been found through the emotional side alone. Intuition and intellect are meant to travel together. Intuition always holding the reins to guide intellect. And so let the mental, the reasoning side rest a while. Become like children, as it states in Matthew 18:3. And learning how to be still, listen to that which the Father will say to you through the intuitional parts of your being. The light that you so crave will come out of the deep silence and become manifest to you from within yourself, if you will but keep still and look for it from that source. And now we go into that deep space, that deep spaciousness, that place of absolute stillness and peace. quietly return from that place within us, from that energy field deep within us, as we return to this time and place, I invite you to stretch out your arms, if you will, or your legs. Yeah. Re-energize ourselves. And so be it. Yeah. And now I think we have our guest musician, Brodie, doing a special for us.
Answer by Eddie Watkins Jr. Here we all are, gathered together in this place. Why are we here? What is our purpose? Spirit, reveal. How do we know what's true and what's real? We may not know where life's road will lead, but it doesn't matter long as we believe that God is the answer. God is the answer. God is the answer to whatever the question may be. What's going on in this world today? Where do we fit? What can we do to make a difference? What can we say? Where do we go? This way or that way? If we all pray and truly believe and love one another, we can let the whole world see that God is the answer. God is the answer. God is the answer to whatever the question may be. Oh, we may not know where life's road will lead, but it doesn't matter long as we believe that God is the answer. He's the only answer. God is the answer to whatever the question may be.
Thank you, Leo. Wow, good stuff. Good stuff. Can anyone guess what the theme for today is? First off, thank you, Diane, for putting this quilt together. And we're going to kind of focus in here a little bit because this whole month, the theme has been ecology of the heart and taking a look at who we are as human beings and who we are as earth beings and who we are as people who are part of this whole creative adventure through a whole creative, beautiful universe, who are also inspirited people and people who are in Christed and people who are on a journey, but we're also here on earth. And so, well, we'll talk about this in a second. I want to give you an affirmation to start with, because this affirmation, I think, will really help us. And I love that you use Emily Cady. It's a theme today. So here's an affirmation by Emily Cady. I'm going to say it, and then we're going to get you to say it with me, because it's good. It's powerful. Diane was reading it, and I said, what are you reading? She goes, Emily Cady. I said, well, read it out loud. I went, oh, my God, this is so good. I always say that about Emily Cady, but that particular one was so powerful. The appearance of weakness is false. The appearance of weakness is false. God, manifest through life, through wisdom, and through power, is now flowing into my entire being and out through me to the external. The appearance of weakness is false. God, manifest as life, as wisdom, and as power, is now flowing into my entire being and out into the external. Why don't you stand up with me? You ready? I'll say it and you say it with me. The appearance of weakness is false. Let's try it again. The appearance of weakness is false. God, manifest through life, through wisdom, and through power. Yeah, feel that power? Let's try it again. And through power is now flow down into my entire being and through me to the external. Okay, how'd that feel? Okay, you can sit, unless you want to do it again. So I want to talk to you a little bit about, well, it's about a lot of things. And the specificity of it is what we call in the world this issue of climate change. Or many people say climate catastrophe, because we're there. But what I want to note is that we need to be careful of our language. Because while it's certainly true that the climate is changing and it's anthropogenic, and so it always does change, but it's changing rapidly, and so rapidly right now that it's making life very uncomfortable for a lot of people and for a lot of animals. Indeed, it's an extinction event that's going on because the extremity and the rapidity of this climate change that has been caused by mostly human activity. Nobody meant to do it. It wasn't like nefarious. It was actually this beautiful, beautiful evolutionary birthing of modernism that allowed us to create things like engines and motors and use gas to create this powerful economic system that took millions and billions of people out of poverty because we had engines and we had mechanisms to feed more people and transport more people, and human consciousness has just boomed thanks to the opportunities that have been given us by our modern science. And then, whoops. What happened? Carbon dioxide building up in our environment in such a way that the solar rays come down, they can't get through the atmosphere, so they bounce back down again, and they start doing this mechanism that starts overheating and changing the very climate that we live in, which is really dangerous for us and dangerous for other creatures. And I'm hoping that no nefarious plot out there. This is what happens in evolution. We go along, we see a problem, we address the problem, we fixed it. Oops. Okay, now there's another problem. We need to address that problem, we fix that. What? And then there's another thing, and it's just great, and we expand, and we learn, and we grow. And then we have to fix that. This is this, we talked about earlier, and this whole month is a bit of a theme, so I'm going to go back and talk about a couple of things here. But that sense of the nested dolls, what Ken Wilber calls hold-ons. It's not a hierarchy like one thing is better than the other. It's an whole-anarchy, which means things are whole unto themselves, and the holes build on the holes, build on the holes, build on the holes, and they're all interacted up and down. The physical world, on top of that, was built a world of life, which on top of that was built a world of rationality, which on top of that built this noosphere, this, it's not something you actually see, but I think Diane sort of captured it here. This is not that blue marble earth we think of, but it's an energized earth that has a whole nother energetic layer coming off of it. Like, whoa, there's this power. It's this new level of understanding and awakening and thinking that has grown on top, all leading to new levels of understanding and new levels of depth and new levels of expansion in our spirit, all towards this ultimate goal, the telos, the final omega point, as Teilhard de Chardin said. It's like a spirit sphere, a God sphere, a theosphere, the sphere of the divine that's all and all and all and all. And each individual is moving towards its whole. And it's also it keeps its individuality and then moves into a community and to a deeper community. It's like, oh man, where do you start? It's like a flower. And you see the flower, and you can go down and down and down. Well, the flower is made of pieces of a flower, and each of those pieces of the flower is made of cells, and each of those cells are made of molecules. Each of those molecules are made of atoms, and each of those atoms are made of particles. Each of those particles are made of subparticles. And then bring it all the way back up, and then there's a flower, and it's part of a bouquet, and it's part of a garden, and it's part of a field, and it's part of a planet, and it's part of a cosmos. Up and down we go, up and down we go, ascend and descend, ascend and descend. And here is a trick. You know, we're here in a spiritual center, but here is a bit of a red flag warning, if you will, for people who are on a spiritual path. Is that the spiritual path is, if I can use this word, if you don't mind, it's the path of ascension. It's that when we do meditation, a lot of people don't do that. We expand, in unity. We talk about this moving to the silence, moving to the beyond of even the recognition of our individuality as individuals, and move into this place where community, and we're moving into this place where we understand that our oneness goes to a we-ness, which goes to a multiple we-ness, which goes into the one, which goes to everything that's individual, merges into the one consciousness, not one that's like 1 + 1 is 2, one that is it's just the nothingness of it. It's the allness of it and nothingness of it, both at the same time. It's moving from the individual people and individual things into a fullness of eternity where all is made perfection, the telos, the ultimate goal that we're all moving to, each of the individuals moving out to the one. And this can be like a spiritual path. And many people think of this as the path of the ascension. The way, though, here's the trick. You ready? And this is kind of ironic. The way to full ascension, the full movement into the fullness of our divine potentiality is in descending. It's knowing our oneness and then moving from the oneness back into our individualness and showing up as me, as you, as each of us, and getting on purpose and doing what we're here to do. Lots of spiritual people, we like to get lost in the ascension. Oh, we're meditating and we're sitting and we're into our escaping and the world. Oh, it's an illusion. It doesn't count. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it does. It matters a lot. It matters eternally. Jesus did, in the Christian tradition, Jesus shows up as a human being, and after death, he shows back up as a human being, a resurrected human being, a transcended human being, maybe someone who theoretically they said, well, he just sort of showed up and left. There was something evolved in his reality, but he also sat down and ate with people. He was still a human being. His ascension led to descending as well, and showing up is real as physical and in this created world. So the true spiritual path, it's you go up, and you go down, and you go up, and you go down, and you go up. It's ascending and descending, ascending and descending, And the problem with it, again, the ascension that forgets the descension is just escapist. And it sits in illusion, and it's so frustrating. It's like, come and help us. And then there's people who sit in descended. I don't want anything to do with that God stuff. Science will fix it all. And we call that flatland, one-dimensional. No ascending, no descending. It's all about science will figure it out. scientist in science is going to figure out a lot of stuff. That's a huge part of this current evolutionary unfolding and unpacking of where we're at. Good stuff. And there's more. And there's more beyond science. And there's further levels of evolution that we can't even necessarily even imagine at this point of what's going to happen. And what happens is each time we stub our toe on the current level of awareness, we go, aha, time to go on, time to transcend, trying to find the next level, trying to go to the more. And that's where we're at. And this is what I love about this earth, is it's saying, look at these levels that we've grown, and the energy and the way that it just shows this evolutionary new sphere that wasn't there, hundreds of thousands of years ago. It's emerging, and this new emergence and this new awakening and the new dawning, and we're keeping growing and we're growing. And I love what Diane talked about last week. If you heard her talk last week on Mother's Day, was about that we're all mothering, we're all pregnant. We're all expecting. We're all birthing the new. We're all moving along, right? It's this constant birthing of the new and birthing of the new possibilities. So there's a sense of like climate change that I want to talk about. And this is the case. It's easy to say, on one hand, the descenders might say, well, it's all going to be about science is going to fix it, and we need a lot of that, But what happens sometimes in Flatland, when it's just about we can fix it, and we see the overwhelming sensibilities of what this climate is what's going on in the climate, is it can be despairing. And you see people getting lost in deep levels of, it's hopeless. What are we going to do? The cat's out of the bag. I've been teaching climate change stuff for 30 years. I used to be a consultant for EPA. I was doing classes on climate issues when we had overhead projectors. Remember those little sleeves you'd pull apart and they'd static, and you'd put, I'd write with a felt pen on these boards. I mean, we've been talking about this stuff, but it's like, as human beings, sometimes it's hard to get our handle on a problem that's this big. And then once we sort of get a handle on it, for a lot of people who are deep into it, there's now a lot of grieving, almost to the point where they're like, oh my God, we're being overwhelmed. Where are we going to go? How are we going to get out of this? So I want to suggest, and talking to a lot of other Unity people too, it's like, what can be the language we use so that we don't always just talk about climate as crisis and despairing and get in a place where we're almost cynical. It's like, well, what's the point? We want to get beyond that. Someone said, what about climate opportunity? Because it's an opportunity for the new. And then Diane did her talk last week. And what about climate birthing? What if we're just birthing this next phase into our evolution? We are birthing something that's totally new, that's coming. In some ways, we don't even know what might be possible on the other end, but we can imagine and we can trust. And we can trust that that's going to unfold. And you say, well, what can I do about it? The appearance of weakness is false. What can we do about it? We're not weak, we're strong. Why are we strong? Because God manifests as life and as wisdom, and his power is now flowing through my entire being and out into the external. That's who we are. Powerful in our wisdom and in our power to speak. And we're also powerful in our imagination, in our faith, in our understanding, in our strength. In all the areas of our life, we are powerful, and we can make a huge difference going forward. So what do you do about that? Well, one thing that I have done, and I found this is useful for me, is it's really easy to go Google climate change and go like, oh my God, it's doom, And it is serious, make no doubt about it. But what I've been doing is now Googling things that said, good news climate, give me some juice, give me some ideas. What do we do next? I want to get excited. I want to get on fire to go with what I can do and what we can do and what all of us can do, what Frank can do, what our family can do, what Unity of Bellingham could do, what the Unity movement can do, what the United States can do, what this world of humanity, what can we do? So I looked up even this morning, because every week I have this thing called Good News in Climate Change. It's this website, and there's lots of them out there you can look up. And so I just Googled really quick, well, what's good this week? And so I got some things. the goal was by 2030 for the world to meet 20% of all of our energy on clean energy. And the United States hit it this year. 20%. Now, the rest of the world is way behind, but we've been on a curve like this in our growth of climate. As a matter of fact, one day this month, California hit 100%. One day, 100%. And I had read earlier, it wasn't in this, that Texas one day had, I don't know if you've driven through Texas, out in East Texas with all the wind farms. One day there was this huge windstorm, and they were like 110%. Their wind was wrong. So things are happening, things are moving, creativity is coming forward, and new ways. And the trick is we got to stay in consciousness that we are not weak, that is false, that we are the very essence of God flowing through, and we are powerful, and we can do something as individuals and communities step by step. Mary Morrissey in our prosperity class says, remember, you do what you can from where you are with what you got. And you take a step, and then you do what you can with what you got from where you are, and you take a step. And you can start in the northern part of Canada, and you can walk to Tierra del Fuego on the other side of the continent. How? You just take another step, and you take another step, and you stay open, and you seek for community, and you take another step. Here's another one. In Portugal, there was this picture of this dam they had, and behind the dam, they launched an island of solar panels. It's wild. It's like 1 mile long. It's just this floating island of solar panels that just float around and they spin it around to get the best sun. They've just major percent change. Oh, here's another one. It's pretty funny. Livestock emissions, because the ruminants belch out a lot of methane, which is even worse than carbon dioxide. They have found new feed for these animals that reduces the amount of methane when they belch. There's a whole new feed coming out now. There's all this, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is a major reduction. We just need to change how we feed a lot of our ruminants. And then this one was pretty funny. The amount of carbon dioxide has been reduced because Russia stopped shipping gas to a lot of countries that has been now forced to get into alternates. And the projection talk about your silver lining to an awful event, is by cutting off that energy from Russia, people have been forced into green tech in a much more rapid rate. Now, all this stuff has side effects, of course. We know it's not all just linear. And, this kind of energy thing sometimes has energy prices and has to do with people who are living more on subsistence level and energy costs. There's a lot of issues. I'm not trying to oversimplify this. But this is the power of our consciousness opening up and opening to what's new and the new evolution. And God going, come on, here we go. Let's invent, let's discover. This evolutionary process of the divine, this evolutionary God that just says, I'm just making the opening, now you get to play. What's next? And this beautiful opportunity for birthing. So I'm sticking with climate birthing. Something energetic is coming, and something energetic is birthing. Now, let me grab this real quick. So, of course, last week, I don't know how many times in so many classes, I kept hearing things. I'm like, Paul said that. That's in Romans. I went to Romans 8, and this is what I found, and I want to leave this with you. A letter to the Romans in the Christian scripture. And this particular is called The Message by Eugene Peterson. So he took some of the traditional language that was translated directly from the Greek, and he tried to make it with a little more of a contemporary ear. So you might recognize some of these parts, but they read maybe a bit smoother. And he says, the way his translation of Romans 8, 15 through 28, the resurrection life you received from God is not timid, grave, tending life. It's adventurously expectant. It's greeting God with a childlike, hey, what's next? What's next? This evolutionary opening to this next phase of our world. That's why I don't think there's any comparison between the present hard times and the coming good times. The created world itself can hardly wait for what's coming next. It's like, did he write this for 2,000 years later? It was amazing. Everything in creation is being more or less held back. God reins it in until both creation and all the creatures are ready and can be released at the same moment into the glorious times ahead. Meanwhile, the joyful anticipation deepens. The joyful anticipation deepens. And all around us, we observe a pregnant creation. Pregnant creation. The difficult times of pain throughout the world are simply birth pains. But it's not only around us, it's within us. We're also feeling the birth pains. That is why waiting does not diminish us any more than waiting diminishes a pregnant mom. We are enlarged in the waiting. And meanwhile, the moment we get tired in the waiting, that's when God's Spirit is right alongside of us, and it's helping us along. And if we don't know how and what to pray for, it doesn't matter. God does our praying in and for us, making prayer out of our wordless signs and our aching groans. And God knows us far better than we know ourselves. God knows our pregnant condition and keeps us present before the very throne of the divine. And this is why we can be so sure that every detail in our lives of love for God is worked out into something good, you know? The classic text you probably heard is all things work together for good for those that love God, right? But what about people who don't love God? Well, who could that be? Let me see. So another synonym for God is life. Another synonym for God is love. Another synonym for God is divine, you know, it's this divine impetus for the good and for the transcendent and to move forward and to grow. Another synonym for God is, you know, the very energy of life that pushes us forward into the next phase. So who doesn't love any of that? All things work together for good for those who love God, essentially for everybody. And when we stay in the love, it works out. When we stay in that creative potential, it works out. When we recognize we're pregnant for something new and for something better and for something that's growing, the path of the ascent is towards the ultimate good. The path of the descent is for goodness in every place we see and in the manifest world. We seek the good and then we express the goodness. We seek the truth and we express truth. We seek for the ultimate of love and then we express love. We ascend and we descend and we ascend and we descend. And this is the pathway for our fullness. Up and down, if you will, or in and out, or whichever way you want to think of it. It's going to source your meditation about, let's not say it's all about the material, and it's not. We need to move forward into our connection with truth and in the silence and the spirituality. And then we need to bring that back down and bring it into the world. Moses went up on the mountain to get the tablets. I knew this from George's class last week. And he stayed too long. He was up, he ascended for too long. He was up on Mount Sinai getting the tablets. And what happened? The people started, you know, our thoughts, the people are all our thoughts, all our parts of us. This is the metaphysical part of it. Start going off key. They made a golden calf and started worship something else. It's like, well, if we're not hearing this truth, if we're not bringing it back into our daily lives, it gets disconnected. We all go up to the mountain. We all go up to Mount Sinai. We all go to that place of consciousness. We all want to touch the oneness and the silence, and then we bring it back down into the allness. You know, the many move to the one, and the one then moves out into the blessed many, where we live in community, and we get to express, and we get to create, and we get to look at this whole thing with climate change as a climate pregnancy. And can we be the ones? Unity of Bellingham and everyone who's watching. Why not us? Why not us? We're not weak. The appearance of weakness is false. We're strong. The very essence of the divine presence flowing through life and wisdom and power is now flowing right through us and out into the external. We can be the ones. We can be the ones. Day by day, step by step, doing what we can with what we got, with where we are. We can make a change. We will make a change. We are the change in this world for this whole climate pregnancy. We can be part of birthing something that's so new and so beautiful. We can imagine it and we can't, because it's going to be beyond what we can even imagine. And this is the promise. Nature groaning, creation groaning, creation aching to be birthed. Something new. Let's be part of that. Let's be part of that. Okay, we can do this, right? Blessings.
Thank you, Frank. That gives us something to ponder, brood on that for a little bit. If you were here last week, you knew what I was talking about. If not, oh well. If the ushers would please come forward, we've come to our time in our service for sharing our prosperity with the world. We want to practice the abundance that we are. And we are always grateful for your generosity. For those of you at home, you can certainly go to our website at www.unity.org and unitybellingham.org, and you can click on the donate button there because we really do appreciate all your financial support. So as you take your offering into your hand, if you'll hold it to your heart and affirm quietly to yourself, I give freely and joyfully, for God is my source, and I have abundance in all areas of my life. And let's say our offertory blessing together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you.
My wings were heavy, I could not fly, haunted by dreams that were meant to come true. Love was there, I could not see it, so the voice of salvation came shining through you, and you said, God is all there is, God is all there will ever be, God is all there is, God is all there will ever be. In the sky of my mind was lightning and thunder. I never could trust it could finally be right. The truth in your eyes said, don't worry, don't wonder. You sang me your song that has shattered the lie, and you said, God is all there is, God is all there will ever be, God is all there is, God is all there will ever be. And like a shepherd, you pulled me through when my heart was troubled and I didn't know what to do. Your compassion planted a seed in my life. Now the flowers in me. All the time I'm singing, all the time I'm singing. God is all there will ever be. God is all there is. God is all there will ever be. If your wings are heavy, you cannot fly, haunted by dreams that were meant to come true. God is right there, you just have to see it. Let the voice of salvation come shining through you, and just sing, God is all there is, God is all there will ever be, God is all there is, God is all there will ever be, God is all there is, God is all there will ever be.
Thank you, everyone. And so we bless these gifts and we dedicate them to the work and the mission of Unity of Bellingham, to Unity Worldwide, and for brave hearts who step forward and know the truth of their power and their courage to address and evolve a world through this climate pregnancy to birth something new and beautiful and creative and that works for everybody. And so it is, and amen. And one announcement we have George's Deeper Meaning class. Of course, we don't have George here because he's off today, but I've got the notes. And if you remember our brave adventurers, Moses and the Israelites, were just going into Rome for 40 years in the desert. What's that about metaphysically? Especially when he told us that the actual distance they traveled was, like 30 miles? What did it take them 40 years for? Well, it's all very metaphysical, and it's all very interesting. So we shall continue at 11:30 upstairs in the Sky Room and continue for exactly 1 hour on a talk about what the heck's happening out in that wilderness with those Israelites and with Moses. And so I got to read ahead a little bit. It's pretty interesting. It's really fascinating, the metaphysical meanings of all that. I think that's it for my announcements. Oh, no, Deb? Marcia, Marcia is in a band. It's called Watkins Sound Jazz, and there's been a health issue, and so they had to postpone. And so we were going to go this afternoon, but don't go if you were planning on it because it's not happening. I think it was up in Linden, and so she'll let us know when it's going to be rescheduled. So if you're planning, don't do that. Yeah, no one will be there unless you just want to go to wherever they were and enjoy the park. Okay, is that it? Yeah.
So now we are going to be singing I Release. So if you'll please rise.
I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you gotta let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say: I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Thank you, Leo. Thank you. And I just want to remind you that following the service, Harvey and Marilyn and some others have prepared some treats for us. Why do we have lit candles on a cake? Russ's birthday. It's also Michael Day's birthday. Oh my gosh, your 90th. Let's do a birthday party.
Everybody who's got a birthday in May, come on up. We want to sing happy birthday. Happy birthday. Look at all the birthdays.
And we'll do it a cappella. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear friends. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. That was great. And now let's join together in saying our prayer for protection. And we do include everyone, everywhere. Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is. And now let's join together in singing, I Choose Love. You've got the words in your bulletin.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one loving family, sharing one son. I choose love. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one choice unites us, let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love.
And I wish you love, peace, and joy in the coming week.